Alright, good afternoon everybody now. Time for episode 11 of Talkz, which is time to review. This is my second to last episode, in which in this episode I'll be reviewing another Christmas animated movie. It's a Christmas animated movie from 2004, released by Warner Brothers, directed by, is other than The Polar Express, and this is a 2005 edition. This is a full screen edition. There's also a widescreen edition DVD, which is available in stores during the holiday season, but this DVD is still pretty good. There's not really a difference. I think full screen is better than widescreen. Anyway, here's spine. In the back it says, "Amazing, you've never seen anything like it. Stay by Joel Sequel of Good Morning America." This film's rated G, but to be honest, I think this film should have been rated PG because of some action sequences. Anyway, starts by here's the disc, which you can see the Polar Express train and also the little boy. Okay, I'm going to go reviewing, and the film is directed by Robert Zemeckis, who also directed the 2009 animated Disney version of A Christmas Carol, and he also directed the 1994 live-action movie Forrest Gump. So it begins on Christmas Eve. We see a little boy in bed, and the boy's name is never actually revealed. And the boy, he's voiced by Daryl Sabara, who, you know, he's in my all-time favorite movie, because Daryl Sabara plays Junie Cortez in Spy Kids 3D Game Over, as well as the other Spy Kids films. He voices the little boy, and the little boy's name is never revealed in this movie. It's kind of weird. I thought it was... And this film's based on the book, The Polar Express, written by Chris Van Allsburg. So yeah, the little boy's name is never revealed, and then one night, he hears a bunch of weird stuff, and then he puts on his slippers and robe, and he goes outside, and he sees a train pull up. And ironically, he hears somebody yell, "All aboard!" and he goes over to a conductor, in which the conductor is voiced by Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, he voices three characters in the film, because the little boy, there's an adult version of the little boy, talking, and the adult version voice is also Tom Hanks. And, the guy, and the conductor says, "Well, you come in," and the boy says, "Where?" And they said, "Why, to the North Pole, of course. This is the Polar Express." And the boy decides not to, and then the conductor says, "Suit yourself." Then the train starts pulling away, but then the little boy decides to get on, and he gets onto the train. Then when he's on the train, he finds a little cart, so he decides to go inside the cart, and he sees a bunch of children in there. And when he sits down, he hears a kid, Ed, who has a lisp, and he's called the know-it-all kid. Ed. He says, "Hey, do you know what kind of train this is?" "Well, do ya? And then a girl whose name is also never revealed says, "It's a magic train." And then the boy says, "Hey, look everybody, Herbersheimer's. And they go by a bunch of all these stores and stuff. And then the train shows up at another house, and we meet another boy whose name is Billy. And Billy, he is the only character in the movie whose name is actually revealed, because none of the other characters' names are revealed in the movie. So Billy decides not to get on, so then the conductor says the same thing, "Suit yourself," and then the train starts pulling away, but then Billy decides to get on, but he can't get on, so the little boy now has to think of a way how to get him on the train. So then he pulls the emergency brake, causing the train to stop, and Billy gets on. And then the conductor comes in and says, and now they're going to have their refreshments, in which they make they have hot chocolate, in which the waiters come and they put these tablecloths over the gaps, and they make a table. All the children drink hot chocolate, but the girl then saves her hot chocolate, and then afterwards, when all the hot chocolate is taken away, he saves this, and he's about to go deliver it to Billy, but then the little boy says she should, and then she said, the know-it-all kid says it's against the rules for a child to cross safety things without a grown-up. And then the conductor takes her to go deliver the hot chocolate to the boy, to Billy. But then the little boy realizes that she forgot her ticket, so then he's going to deliver it. But then it blows away, and then it lands in the middle of the woods, and then these wolves run by, causing it to fly away. And then a bird catches it and brings it back to its nest, and gives it to its baby bird. But then the baby bird spits out the thing, and then it goes under this tunnel, and then the train pulls by, goes through the tunnel, and then it lands back onto the train and into an air vent. So then the little girl tells the conductor that her ticket is gone. So then the conductor goes to tells her to come with her, and then the know-it-all kid says that she's probably going to get thrown off and that they may slow down the train but not going to stop it. So then the little boy decides to stop it again by, he's about to pull the emergency brake, but then he realizes the air vent's right there and he sees the ticket. So then he grabs the ticket and goes on to the next car and asks Billy where they are. And then he's not saying anything. He tells him to tell him. And then like the little boy sees a shadow of the conductor and the girl going. So then the little boy then goes on to the roof of the train, and he meets a hobo, who's also, again, voiced by Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks has quite a few roles in this movie. So then, he has some the little boy has hot chocolate with the hobo, and then he decides, and then, like, the guy is saying he's the king of the North Pole. The hobo's saying that he is the king of the North Pole, and then, the little boy saying that he wants to believe in Santa, but he doesn't. Because the little boy in this movie, he does not believe in Santa, which is kind of weird. Because in the book, the little boy believes in Santa, but in the movie, he doesn't. Which is kind of weird. So then, like, the little boy is then asking, like, if this is all a dream. And then he kind of realizes it's a dream. So then he tries to wake up. And the hobo actually says to him, do you believe in ghosts? And the little boy says, no. And then he says, really? And then the hobo disappears, revealing that he's a ghost. And then the little boy tries to wake up again, but he can't. And then the hobo comes back, and then they decide to ski towards the front of the train. Then the little boy lands in a coal area, and he sees the little girl there, and he realizes that she's driving the train because the engineer had to check the light. And then when the engineers are done checking the light, they're both voiced by Michael Jeter. This was the last movie to feature Michael Jeter, because then he died before the film came out. And at the end of the credits, it says in memory of Michael Jeter. So they fix the light, and then they realize something's up ahead. So then the little boy stops the train. They realize there's caribous there in the way. But luckily, they're able to walk away, and they continue on. They go down the steep track like they're on a roller coaster. Yeah, that is kind of scary. Then they realize they land on a bunch of ice, revealing that the tracks are frozen over the ice. But then this key falls out of the train area and lands on the ice, and the ice is cracking. So then they start getting there, and then they start like moving everything, and some of the ice is shattering. And then like the little boy gets the little girl's ticket, and like they're trying to catch it. And once they catch it, they realize that the ice is cracking. Some of the carts are falling into the frozen water, and they're panicking. And then luckily they find some tracks. Just as the water cracks, the train's about to go underwater, but then the train lands on the tracks, as then they continue, and then some of the carts are in the water, but then they continue and come back onto the tracks, and they continue their journey. So they go over these mountains, and then the conductor takes the little boy and the little girl to this area where all these toys are, and then the little boy goes back, and he goes into the back car and sees the little girl there, and sees that Billy is singing, as Billy and the little girl then sing the song When Christmas Comes to Town. And then and then they arrive at the North Pole. Everyone gets out of the cart, but Billy isn't there. He's still in the cart. So then the little girl and the little boy go up, but then the little boy steps on something, causing the cart that Billy's in to get disconnected from the train. So then when they're on there, it pulls away, and they land in an area where the train's spinning. They get down, they balance, and like the little girl and Billy are saying they hear the sleigh bell, but the little boy says that he doesn't hear it. So then they continue on. They see all these elves, and they found someone named Steven being naughty. So then he but then luckily they cut the kid some slack, and they go. The elves take this ride to go down to the area center. So then they go. Oh, and then the little girl, Billy, and the little boy get into the ride as well, and they land somewhere, and they follow these arrows, and they go over to where like a conveyor belt where all the presents are. A bunch of presents comes, and a present comes. It turns out the present is for Billy, and that's when like it reveals where Billy's name is. So then Billy follows the presents, and the little girl and the little boy do, and they go down the slide. And then they land in an area full of presents. They realize they're in Santa's bag. And then the bag gets lifted away, and they're heading towards there. But then something grabs Billy, and they realize it's the know-it-all kid. The know-it-all kid says, I'm here because I'm doing the same thing as you're doing. Checking to see if there's everything on my list. All I found was one present for me, and all it was just a bunch of stupid underwear. And then they make it. Of course, then once they land there, Santa... once they land, they get out of the bag, and then Santa Claus then arrives. Of course, the little boy can't see it because all the elves are piling around. And then one of the bells from the reindeer falls off, and then the little boy finds it, and he decides that he'll believe, and he hears the bell ring. And then Santa arrives, shows up, and chooses that he will get the first gift of Christmas. And then the little boy wishes for the bell, and then it's the first gift of Christmas. So then they make it back onto the train, and when they realize that the bell is gone because the little boy had a hole in the pocket of his robe, and then they're about to go out the train, go and find it, but then the train left and they were on their way back. Billy is then brought home and thanks the little boy for stopping the train for him. And then then the little boy arrives back at his house and gets off, and he says goodbye to everybody. And then the next morning he wakes up and they're opening their presents, him and his little sister Sarah. In the movie, his sister is not revealed. His sister's name is not revealed, but in the book, his sister's name is revealed, because in the book, the sister's name is Sarah. So people are just assuming that's it. So then the little boy, Sarah finds another present, and it's for the little boy, and then he opens it and realizes it's the bell, and he hears the sweet ring, and then Sarah also hears the ring, and then their parents try to listen to it, but they can't hear it. That's because they don't believe in Santa. And then that's about it. And then the adult version of the little boy says that many years later, everybody could hear the bell anymore, but the boy still does because he still believes. Alright, that's episode 11 of Jack Talks. Episode 12 will be up next, in which will be my final Christmas movie review.